Apartheid-free means apartheid-free from occupation, from colonization, from oppression, from genocidal mentalities. It's free the people. It's like the freedom. It's justice. Like it's all these things. And it's a victory for our humanity.
Now is the time for us to redouble our efforts across the country to increase the grassroots pressure to end American support for Israeli genocide and apartheid in Palestine.
In a moment in which we are witnessing the active genocide of the Palestinian people, in which we are witnessing escalations of the genocide and expansions of the genocide into Lebanon and the surrounding areas, in which we are witnessing mass arrests in the West Bank and starvation in the north of Gaza.
This is the right time to strengthen and to widen the movement of free apartheid, because this is really the right time to oppose apartheid. And today it is an apartheid in a genocide context, which means we need to double our efforts to make this happen, to stop the apartheid and to stop the genocide.
The Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip, 70% of them are refugees, have suffered immensely because of Israel's siege and apartheid. My own family is not an exception. My mother struggled for 12 years to get a permit to visit her own family in the West Bank. My sister, at the age of 27 in 2007, lost her life because Israel denied her a medical permit to have a minor surgery in Jerusalem, an hour away from Gaza. We know the meaning of apartheid and segregation and treating us as second and third class citizens. Palestinians are not treated equally, be them in Gaza, the West Bank, or in Israel itself.
Palestinians have never given up hope in our decades-old resistance to Israel's regime of oppression. This hope is rooted in our people's steadfastness, insistence on our freedom, justice, equality, and dignity, and also in the inspiring growth of the global solidarity movement's impact, and apartheid-free communities are definitely part of that.
Being apartheid-free means dismantling the very system that allows for the growth of the Zionist settler colonial project. We know that Israel would not be able to continue its expansion without the fragmentation of the Palestinian people, without the continued subjugation of the Palestinian people, which is exactly the conditions that apartheid creates.
Apartheid-free community, to me, this means connecting the dots between colonialism, imperialism, Israel's apartheid, and genocide, and building a united front, especially now after Trump's election in the United States, against all of these, and seeing how everything is connected, what Israel is doing here, which is a genocide, and racism, remnants of colonialism in Western societies.
I'm thinking a great deal about the stakes of this moment and the heightened stakes of this moment now that Trump has been reelected. And I think all of us have to think long and hard about what we are willing to do in a moment in which the threats to Palestinians and those who stand in solidarity with them from a legal point of view, from a legislative point of view, are very, very real and very, very severe, and are coming up even as we speak. And when I think about that, I think about taking very, very seriously the question, what are we willing to sacrifice to be part of this movement?
I felt that many of our friends were distracted by the elections, and I got the impression that maybe we think that hope lies within a political party over the other, and there was definitely this debate which nominee is better. Let's remember that real change comes from bottom up, and that it involves real work on the ground, and that's the strength of faith communities. I think that's when we go back to our roots as movements centered around ideals. motivated by faith in the loving and just God.
I think this is a new challenge, like for the Palestinian movement, and this is shouldn't like make them despair. They should like this is a reason to continue and to insist to double their efforts and going ahead with what we are doing.
We have to work together to make sure that Palestinians have equal rights. Palestinians deserve equal rights, and we deserve full equality within our lifetime.
As a Palestinian in the diaspora that has grown up in this movement, I didn't think this would happen in my lifetime. What's next is that more and more Americans will exponentially wake up to the reality that our tax and municipal dollars are funding atrocities that do not align with our values, not only in Palestine, but worldwide and right here at our doorsteps.
We've seen in our lifetimes how even the most egregious and entrenched injustices can be ended by people power, and that's the task before us now. Our friends and colleagues in Gaza tell us the one thing we must keep doing is raising our voices, not to let them be forgotten. And even amid all the sadness, destruction, and despair that we've seen in the last year, we have to have hope that there is a future for an apartheid-free Palestine, for an apartheid-free world, when Palestinians will be able to go home to every part of their beautiful country, rebuild their lives, honor the sacrifices of those who have given everything for a freedom that is certain to come. But we have to play our role in it. We have to be there on the ground, speaking truth to power.
Apartheid-free is not just about Palestine. It's really about our collective humanity. Sadly, we said never again in other contexts, and we thought that we got rid of apartheid, for example, once apartheid fell down in South Africa, only to find it even in a worse form, with military occupation, with land confiscation, reappear in Palestine. So this is about, our collective humanity and saying no to apartheid.
And I would just add that I think apartheid also gives us a step into a larger frame, which is a decolonial frame. Apartheid is a relatively narrow focus of international law, but when we view this issue from a decolonial frame, Israel as a settler colonial as well as apartheid society, then we can talk about what happens next after that dismantling. We can talk about reparations. We can talk about restoring refugees. We can talk about a host of issues that very specifically speak to the kind of society that we want to see and we want to build.
We are reaffirmed as students in our commitment to continue fighting for the liberation of Gaza, no matter what it takes and no matter what repression we face. We know that the repression that we've seen is only going to continue to escalate. And so we, as the student movement, are going to continue to use our power as students to turn our campuses into bases of political education and to leverage our power towards divestment and towards the breaking of all material ties between our university and Zionism.
Let's go back to organizing, to winning one person at a time, and to really showing how, central the Palestinian issue is to the world. When we say today it's a test to humanity because of the, apparent colonialism and apartheid that still exist and even defended by faith and religion, we need to really speak up and declare not in our name.
As the British Pakistani writer Nadeem Aslam says, quote, "Despair has to be earned. I personally have not done all I can to change things. I haven't yet earned the right to despair." End of quote. Unless you've earned that right, you have to keep organizing, keep reimagining and hoping, keep speaking truth to power, keep building people power, keep ending complicity in your sphere of relative influence, not just for decolonizing Palestine, but also for decolonizing every community, every state. This is the most profoundly ethical thing to do today and every day.
I am 66 years old. I spend most of my time under the occupation, under apartheid. I continue wondering what could be the life without apartheid. We long for freedom, we long for liberty, and we dream that someday we will have Palestine without apartheid.